Marky Z, and welcome to another episode of the Rockin House. Today's special guest is Cloven Hoof, UK metal band. We got George Call, lead singer, all the way from Dallas, Texas, and we also have Mark Bristow, all the way from the UK, who just joined the band about a year ago. Rock dude.
And Mark, when we interviewed him on Skype from England, from the Black Hills, which has a definite heavy metal history with bands like Led Zeppelin and Judas Priest and bands like that. He also allowed us to take a little, he walked around the Bolt Studios. So how cool is that? So Mark, their newest member and youngest member, is going to be on the show today. And then we're going to have George Call.
Okay, let's bring up George Call to the Rockin House. Welcome, George. Okay, this is Marky Z, and welcome to the Rockin House. I got episode 4 today, and my special guest today is George Call of Cloven Hoof and many other awesome metal hard rock projects. Welcome, George, from Dallas, Texas, to the Rockin House. We're glad to have you.
Thank you for having me, Marky. How you been, brother?
I've been great. And George, what I'd like to talk about on this show today is I hear that there's a lot of great new things coming from Cloven Hoof, Aska, all these new projects you've been working with. Let's tell our viewers what's going on with you and how things are happening with Cloven Hoof. If you released something new, I believe in April, you were telling me?
We did. April 24th, Pure Steel Records released our new Cloven Hoof album titled The Age of Steel.
That's awesome, and you're hearing that for the first time on the Rockin House.
Yeah, and
how's that going for you?
It's going great, man. The week of release, first week of release, April 24th,
nice.
Every single copy of the limited edition vinyl sold out.
Wow.
And then, of course, all the U.S. distributors that received their copies. It took about a month to get due to COVID, but all the copies are gone. They've sold through. They can't keep them in stock. It's probably Cloven Hoof's fastest selling record.
That's amazing.
And doing well, you know.
That's great.
With it hits a new pinnacle for Cloven Hoof music and releases, and we're just really happy with it.
Awesome, man. Great. All right, I'm Marky Z, and we're back with the Rockin House with George Call of Cloven Hoof. How you doing, George?
I'm doing good still, brother.
Awesome, brother. Well, let's say we're going to talk about some things here. I know Cloven Hoof's got the New Age of Steel album. Just came out on April 24th. That's awesome for all you metalheads. Let's talk about some new projects that you got going on now, bro. I know you're a guy that dabbles in a lot of bands, and you even play instruments like in guitar in the band Aska, correct?
Yeah, I do. Aska is a band that I founded. And we put out our first record in '91. I had 6 CDs, and we are presently in the studio right now working on album number 7.
Nice.
Most of the music, I'd say the music is probably 90% done, 95% done.
Awesome.
And within the next 2 weeks, I'm taking a week off for vacation, heading down to the coast. But after that, we start on vocals.
All
and
right.
hopefully this album will see release before the end of the year.
All right, great, man. I'll tell you what, as to my understanding, I want to bring into this, absolutely. I do want to say our prayers go out to Lee, the founding member of Cloven Hoof, because he's sick and couldn't be with us today. But we are going to reschedule him, so all you viewers out there, he will be rescheduled with the Rockin House. But let's go to what we want to talk about right now is any other new projects that you have going on that we can share with our viewers.
Well, besides Aska,
yeah.
And she put out a record
Okay.
close to a year ago.
Okay.
And that was called the Madness.
Nice.
And I picked that up at visionarynoise.com.
Okay.
I've also got guest appearances coming up. One with a band called Offensive.
Nice.
I'm singing on their record. And I'll be doing a song on there with some other industry names.
You mind sharing? Our viewers will want to know.
I think it's a guy from maybe one of the guys from Symphony X is playing guitar on there.
Wow.
I'm not totally sure yet. But as always, I've got the guest appearances and whatnot.
Nice.
And just stay busy and stay metal and keep pushing this music to the forefront and keep it in people's face, because that's the only way we're going to win this thing.
Very awesome. And there's one other thing I want to mention real quick, is Danny White, who when I was playing Pittsburgh and Scranton and Akron, Ohio with my band Crown of Earth, yep, this guy right here.
How about this young man right here?
That's it. He had a birthday yesterday.
He had a birthday yesterday. He turned, I think he's 82 years old now. And no, I'm just kidding. He's sweet. This is the album that Danny White appeared on, Who Mourns for the Morning Star.
Oh yeah, dude. Time to Burn. I love that song. Well,
He's
I got
also
some.
in Aska. Danny's also the drummer for Aska.
Right. Well, let me show you our viewers this here, because when I was on the tour with you guys for them 3 shows, I had the opportunity to pick up these awesome signature Cloven hoof drumsticks from Danny White. Yeah, all right. I'm back here with Cloven Hoof's lead singer George Cole, and we'd like to wrap things up a little bit. But before we do, let's ask George a thing about how he is handling this pandemic. I know we're all getting sick and tired of it, but it's changed the way of life as us as musicians, and we have to learn to cope with it and find ways to deal with it. So how are you, as a national known that tours all over the country and the world, handling this? Tell our viewers.
And I'm not a fan of this COVID-19 thing. It has put the brakes on all of the music industry. It certainly put a stop to all live performances, the shows. I don't need to tell you. I mean, I think everybody knows.
Oh yeah.
Shame. It certainly put the brakes on the the live aspect of things. But it has opened up some time so that those of us that like to stay busy and get after it can do so. And
sure.
I think the smart purveyors of our genre are out there working on new music and recording new albums and honing some new material. That's what we've been doing, taking advantage of downtime. There's both a new Cloven Hoof record in the works.
Really? Wow.
Works. Yeah. In fact, it's mostly written already, and I think started to demo some of the album tracks in England right now.
Wow. You heard that right there on the Rockin' House, first thing, right from George Cole. A new Cloven Hoof album is in the works right now, guys.
In the works. We haven't, the latest one isn't but 2-3 months old, and we've already got a new one in the works, so.
That's metal, man. I love it. You guys rock, man.
Trying to take advantage of the downtime so that we can keep the music rolling for those that live and breathe this stuff like we do.
All right. And in closing, George, before we end the show today, and again, thank you so much for being a guest. We're going to have in Lee Payne's place today your new drummer, who's been with the band for about a year, Mark Harris Bristow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Mark Bristow. He'll be, I guess, talking to you from his home in Wolverhampton, Dudley, England.
Yeah, we're excited.
Tonight, there's no sounds for
the Rockin' House again with Cloven Hoof, and we now have Mark Harris Bristow on the show with us, the drummer. It's to my understanding, Mark, before I say that, let me welcome you to the show. It's to my understanding that you have been with the band now for a year, and you are on Age of Steel, the newest album just released on the 24th of April. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me on. Yeah, fairly new to the band.
Awesome. How did you get involved with Cloven Hoof?
How did I get involved?
Yeah.
It's one of those life things of it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Sure,
so Lee's stepson, Timo, is best friends with my best friend, Daryl, who did a solo on Resist and Surf.
Nice.
And Lee said to him, first of all, do you know a studio that could potentially record the next Hoof album? To which he then got in contact with Chris Dando from Vault Studios just behind me. It's where I'm at now.
Nice.
And then he said to Chris, have you got any drummers that are based in the UK that fancy doing some, Hoof stuff?
Sure.
And that's basically how I got into it. So through a chain of people, basically, and here we are now.
Awesome. That's awesome stuff. Let me ask you, we were talking a little bit earlier, because, my partner, Rock Dude, he's a gearhead and definitely a music aficionado, as you can say, if I said that word right. But you have a preference for particular drums that you have been playing, and why do you like that particular drums, that particular brand? Let's say that.
Yeah, so I said to you earlier, I think if you buy cheap, you buy twice. So I was fortunate enough about 8 years ago to get a Truth Matt Grainer signature kit. So Matt Grainer from August Burns Red. Bought all DW hardware, so for me, DW is the king. Nothing's ever broken; it always goes back perfectly.
Okay.
So massive fan of that. And I've got a new pedal on order actually from a small Austrian company called ACD Unlimited.
Nice.
That's gonna be dropping in the next couple of months. So it's got inbuilt triggers. It's got loads of stuff which will really help the Hoof sound live actually. So
okay.
Also got a Roland TM2. So basically, when you hear us live in Europe, the snare and bass drum that you hear on the album will be what you hear through the PA.
Okay.
So really trying to bring the next level to Hoof really with as you know from the albums, loads of backing tracks and orchestras and all that kind of stuff. So however the album sounds now, that's exactly how you hear it live, and that's what I'm super passionate about. So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Okay, we're back here at the Rockin' House with Mark Harris Bristow from Cloven Hoof. How's it going, Mark? Welcome back, brother. Thanks
for having us back again. Yeah, it's great to be here.
Awesome. Now, I want to talk about a few things here. Like I did talk to George earlier on the show. Is it to my understanding you also do other projects besides Cloven Hoof?
Yeah, so I was involved with Lee on the Easter Lyra project. So that album came out about 4 or 5 months ago.
Nice.
And it's a prog rock, very, very Rush-inspired kind of album. And that was actually recorded and all done here at Vault Studios with Chris Dando, who's on vocals, and actually with Ash Baker as well in Cloven Hoof. He did all the guitar on it as well. So excited about that, and hopefully we'll be able to tour that at some point as well in the future.
That's amazing. Why don't we share with our viewers while we're talking now about things like this? What looks like your future with Cloven Hoof? Do you feel that you guys got a great gel going as being part of the band now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that with George, I think that really this lineup is probably one of the best and the most consistent that I've certainly heard, because we've got certainly the album sound nailed. We can nail it all live, which is really, really cool. So I just hope that it keeps continuing to grow and grow and grow. It's certainly live. It's the best that I think that Cloven Hoof has sounded. So we just need, after this COVID stuff, we just need to get out there and start touring. So I'd give you a quick tour of Vault Studios. We moved in here. This is the new Vault. This is the same studio that we recorded the Age of Steel at.
Nice.
It's the new location. So this is the control room. Decked out with LEDs. It's all soundproofed, so recording quality is wicked.
Sure.
And then we move into the main live room now, which is a lot bigger than before, which is great.
Angle amps.
Tons of them, and they're ever growing. We're always buying gear. So here's my kit that I mentioned earlier. So it's a full Truth kit, all DW stuff.
Nice.
Using a mix of Sabian and Zildjian cymbals at the minute. For anybody that's interested, I use a Tama Speedcover double bass drum pedal, which is down there. And then I've got my live rig, which I should be able to show you. So you can see that down there.
Oh, wow, yeah. Yeah,
So,
I see it.
That's the live rig where we get all the backing tracks and the triggers and all that
The
kind of stuff.
triggers, yeah, okay, yep. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is a bit on the studio, and this has been basically home during COVID. So there are worse places that you could be, I suppose. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, it's been really, really great, and of course practicing all the new Cloven Hoof tracks as well.
All
so
right,
it's
we're
sick.
back at the Rockin' House again with Mark Harris Bristow from Cloven Hoof, and also he has another project he said with Lee Payne from Cloven Hoof he's working on, and we already talked about that, but I want to move forward a little bit. We just got a couple minutes ago talking about a few things, and you mentioned something about you come from the Black Hills of England, and we know some of the famous bands in metal and hard rock that came from those areas. But I'm going to let our viewers know how close in proximity some of these people are, and how awesome that is.
Yeah, so obviously all of you guys know Ozzy Osbourne. So that's in Birmingham, which is about 10 miles away. But I live in Wolverhampton, which is not too far from Lee and Ash. So we've got some great artists that have come from that area. One being Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin. If you're lucky enough, you'll catch him in some of the pubs around by me. So
wow,
that kind of stuff, which is pretty cool. And then we're about half an hour away from Stoke as well, which is obviously where Slash came from.
Wow.
Too far from Walsall, again about 15 minutes away, which is of course where the legendary Rob Halford came from. So there's no place really for this. And just recently, if you haven't really checked it out, place in Wolverhampton called KK Steel Mill, which is KK Downing's place. And again, he lives probably about 10 miles away from me.
Wow.
As Bridge North. So we've got it all here. It's really cool, man. Really cool.
Wow. And then the last thing in closing the show, and that's some amazing stuff. And Mark, thank you so much for stepping in and coming in the place of Lee Payne. We do send prayers out to him. Thank God, just so all you viewers know, he does not have the virus. He's just sick, and we wish him to be well. And we are going to reschedule Lee Payne to come back, the founding member of Cloven Hoof, to the show. But in closing, I want to ask you, as I mentioned to George as well, how are you dealing with this COVID and the pandemic over in the UK?
Well,
being a musician.
We've all been in lockdown, and we're starting to see that being lifted. But I think this is actually a golden moment for musicians. So for me, there's a lot of things on drums that I've wanted to work on for a long, long time.
Okay.
And having the 3 or 4 months off to do that, like double bass work, snare work, all technique stuff that takes ages, that's one thing that I've been filling my time with. So I hope that other musicians have done the same thing. And I actually hope that in the next 6, 12, 18 months that we see some amazing music coming out, because people have really had the time to sit down and really craft it. So that's what I've been doing, and I hope everybody's been doing the same.
Mark, you know what, Mark? It's funny you said that. I've been writing my own music and recording it, and I actually have something going on a soundtrack to a movie. John Rain is the producer of it here in the United States, and it's called Evergreen is the New Blood. It's actually a movie about vampires. And I've seen some of the footage of what's going on, like little teasers, and I'm so excited that he's interested to maybe put my music in there that I've written myself as a soundtrack. Evil Among Us. Actually, I'm going to be in the studio tomorrow. I'm excited, booked to mix and master the track and get it to John as soon as I can. So in closing, I appreciate you coming to the show from the UK, Long Live Metal. This is the Rockin' House. I'm signing off. I'm Mark, my partner, Rockin'. Thank you, Mark, for coming to the show.